Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is quotes 249. Today is one by Anonymous. Every now, I think I've done at least a handful in the past where I can't really find who was the original person who said this. So if you do recognize it, let me know, and I'll give credit to them in the description. But sometimes the quote is just good enough that it deserves a video. So anyway, let's look at what the quote is today. Your words mean nothing when your actions are the complete opposite. Yeah. So there's probably somebody in your life you've almost wanted to say this to at some point, or probably really a handful of people. So we hear this a lot. It always comes up. Let's continue. Let's look at the note here. This anonymous quote is similar to the proverb, actions speak louder than words. Yeah, I did cover that proverb a long time ago too, so I did make a video about that one as well. Except this quote adds the idea of suggesting someone may be a hypocrite. Remember, hypocrite is somebody who tells you that you should be behaving in a certain way or do a certain way, but they themselves don't do it either. So this is just what a hypocrite does. They tell you one thing as they themselves do the opposite. This phrase can definitely be used with way too many politicians who often get labeled as flip-floppers. Remember, a flip-flopper, that would be a politician that when he's running for office, he says he's for this thing or that thing. And then after they get elected and they got to vote on it, sometimes they change their mind on you. So that's definitely would fall into this sort of category. Or con artist, maybe you realize you got tricked by them. Maybe they promised you something, but it really wasn't at all what they sounded like they were talking about. It ended up being something totally different. So you feel like you've been conned. You feel like you've been tricked. Or downright liars, just complete liars. Maybe they never really had any intention of doing, good for the people. So, and to be fair, you could probably accuse politicians on both sides of the aisle. So it really doesn't matter what country you're in, whether it's liberal or conservative. You could probably point to some politician and probably be able to say this. So they're one of the biggest offenders of a phrase like this. Your words mean nothing when your actions are the opposite. But of course, it's not limited to that. There's any area of your life you could find somebody where this quote is very suitable. The phrase could also often be used in relationships. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of women, but also a lot of men that might want to say this to their partner. When one partner has this behavior, this could be used in regard to addictions. Yeah, maybe somebody had a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction, and maybe they're promising that they will quit. I'll never do this again. I love you, and I'll do whatever it takes, and they disappoint. And of course, eventually somebody might give up on them. Or it could be abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, something like that. They promise, oh, no, I'll never do that again. And of course, again, they disappoint. Cheating, of course, would be a big one. And it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. If the partner cheats on them and then they were lucky enough that the person took them back, and then if you cheat again, then they would really, have the right to say something like that to you. Assuming you didn't really want to lose that person. All right, and let's continue. Whatever the case, try to live by your words if possible. Yeah, I always remember in all the old cowboy movies, they always used to emphasize that. Maybe in the 1800s, people kind of held this more in high regard. I always remember them always saying, a man is only as good as his word. So whatever he says, as long as he lived by the words that he says, whatever he professes, whatever he says, then, that shows his worth or his value. If you don't, people will see through you. Even if you say good things or promote good things, but if you do the opposite, people will eventually see through you and think of you as a phony person, and not worthy of respect. If you live by your words, the opposite will happen. Yeah, especially, of course, if your words are good, and if your words, preach or profess, positive things or good things. and you actually follow through and you live by your words, then, people will naturally like you or turn towards you, or at the very least, have respect for you. Anyway, I hope you got it. I hope it's clear. Hope it was informative. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.